calling us at.
Good afternoon, and if coming home from working a long 9 to 5, hope you're having a great one as I bring to you another edition of Talktagon with myself, Rami, and the best, Max. It was a rough weekend for UFC fans watching the events happening in Vancouver, especially for people who had pick'ems, because all the favorites essentially just shit the bed, and it was the most craziest situation to possibly happen. Even the main event. It made a lot of UFC fighters were talking. A lot of UFC fighters were thinking to themselves, I could have taken the opportunity and done that if given the right circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, I am your host, Rami, Who Else But Rami on all my socials. That is Combat Convos, Max himself. Max, my friend, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. Got the UFC action. We didn't do too good in the picks. We'll get more into that later, but it was overall, some bad reffing, but some good fights. So overall balanced out. And then plus bonus, our Dodgers made it to the World Series. That always makes the weekend.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Ohtani. I'm hearing that he's possibly the GOAT. I pretty much agree with that. So I'm not even thinking possibly. He is. It's confirmed. He's going to be in MMA because he can just do it all. So he's fighting time after and all. Maybe a late replacement if Gon gets hurt. They got him on call. But yeah, man. So overall, great weekend. Can't wait to break it down with you. And we both at least didn't do great with our picks. So at least you can't roast me too bad this week.
Exactly. I thought I lost. I was like bidding the whole family farewell. Like, goodbye, guys. I fucking suck. This is not a good one for me. But wow, just a bunch of wows you could really give this whole event. But before we do get into the action, our boy is here cranking his goddamn
Let's
hog.
go.
Good old Randy. Yeah, good old Randy. We love you, Randy. Thank you so much for always tuning in. 32 episodes deep, and he's only missed one. Come on, that's dedication right there. This man's basically he's right there. He's our moderator right there. He overwatches everything. He cranks people's hogs. He beats their hogs if you got him. But so just absolute intensity was this past weekend. Of course, the main event was Reinder de Ridder against Brendan Allen over in Vancouver, British Columbia. Which shout out to Canada. Your Toronto Blue Jays will be facing off against the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series this Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern for all those people over there and whatnot. I have a great friend named Dawson who I've been best friends with for 13 years, and we've never had a situation like this ever happen. My team has always won. His team has always sucked. You know what I mean? So the Blue Jays, and every year I always say, oh, I hope the Blue Jays do well. And then the Yankees came in, the Astros came in, the Red Sox came in. So many teams will just be over them every single time. Always wild card opportunities and always lost to the Mariners and all these other teams. Game 7 last night. I saw that. Okay, so it was in a Monday Night Raw. It was 3-1 score. 3-1 score. It was in the bottom of the 8th inning. I legit went to grab my laptop so I could put the game on or whatever on my TV. And as soon as I put the game on, it was 4-3 to score. It took 4 minutes, and the score changed up so dramatically because of George Springer, which shout out to him. Ever since he left the Astros, I've been a big fan of his because, come on, fuck the Astros. And fuck Houston, too.
I don't know. I'm still butthurt over it. I don't know if I forgive him.
It was such a wild, amazing, incredible time. Of course, Vladdy Guerrero getting the ALCS MVP. Shohei Ohtani getting the NLCS MVP for 10 strikeouts, 3 home runs in 1 game. Come on. People are like, oh, you can compare it to Babe Ruth. I think he might be better.
Yeah, I'm like,
You know
I
what I
feel
mean?
like the
Come on.
sport might have advanced a little bit since then, so maybe a little harder to do.
Babe was throwing 90-mile-per-hours. Shohei throws 100. Babe was hitting 360. Shohei's hitting 469. Like,
For real, bro.
come
All
on,
the way
man.
out of the
Come
ballpark,
on,
dude.
man.
I'm like,
Gotta
that's
be,
crazy.
you gotta fear the man. But of course, I'm gonna say be right back for about a minute. I'm gonna go and grab my laptop so I can have all my stats open because I forgot to grab that. I was like, what did I forget to grab? That's the first thing I forget to grab. All right, be right back.
Alrighty. While Rami's gone, guys, I want to know what the hell was up with that creepy ass picture that was flashed on the walk-ins for that main event? Because I'm hearing it's being investigated as like a possible, like, I don't know, harsh business going on, dirty business going on. That was definitely one of the creepiest things I saw, and I don't think
Criminal Minds over here.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, I wanted to talk about that. I'm like, this is the most creepy shit I've ever seen, bro. At first, like Brennan Allen out, but it was definitely not. I'm like, oh my god, dude. So, and the dude was wearing a mask too, so I don't know what the hell is up with that. So, hopefully, we're able to figure that out because, yeah, definitely some disturbing shit.
That's very disturbing. I was like, I didn't notice that at first until somebody posted it after the fight, and I was like, wait,
yeah,
what happened? I thought it was just some dude like knocked out. That looks like a fucking victim right there,
mm-hmm.
brother. Like,
yeah,
that's like
dude,
a murder victim right there. So it's like, wow,
for real, dude.
like,
I'm like, and the fact that it's in public, I'm like,
worst part is
what type of freak is this?
The worst part about this is that it's gonna become a trend, because I fear that whenever we see stuff at events like that, I feel like people are gonna be like, hey, I could start flashing anything I want, really, at these. We started seeing dildos being thrown at WNBA games, and then now we're seeing dead bodies at UFC events. What's next?
Real. I'm not liking this.
Someone's gonna die? Someone's gonna blow up in the middle of the octagon? Like, or in the middle of a game, just combust into a million pieces, flash all over the place like it's Terrifier?
Yeah.
Which I never watched that movie. I think it's awful. I think anybody who watched those Terrifier movies is awful.
Yeah, I never seen them, so I'm a good guy.
Yeah. I'm very happy you did. I'm about to go macho on you. Come on now. Let's get right into the card, of course. The prelims. What a shit show. What a shit. So much red. You know, red flags. Red flags. It's like an it's like an ex-significant other that you just don't want to be around. So many red flags you just don't want to be around. But the green, it's there. I mean, I cooked dinner, cooked breakfast, whatever it is. You got to be happy about it some ways. God. But of course, kicking off the show was women's bantamweight action between Melissa Scare Croden against Tainara Lisboa. And wow, these two shocked me. And here's the thing that makes me a little bit upset. They should have gotten fight of the night. Mm-hmm. That fight opened up the card, and it was beautiful. Lisboa, of course, been in the octagon before for the UFC. Melissa Scare Croden, her nickname Scare. This is her UFC debut in Vancouver. She felt the love. She felt the roar of the crowd of Vancouver, of course, of Canada. They're always in a room for the people. And it was at first, the first round was a little bit concerning. Lisboa was having herself a great time. Every time she stepped in to the pocket, she would throw out these little jabs like firecrackers, and she would just keep landing like two out of the 6 punches thrown. She would at least like 2 to 3, and could try to continue it on. You saw at a point where we saw Melissa Croden bleeding, and it looked like, second round, you're gonna see Lisboa go in and challenge that. That was not the case, and it was a wild situation in the second round where she gets the takedown. It looks like she has a lot of ground control. As soon as Melissa stands up, she starts charging with kicks to the ribs, punches galore, like a barrage of punches, a barrage of kicks to the ribs, anything to just create a rampage that Lisboa couldn't get out of. And then third round came in, where it was basically tied up. They were both bleeding, both women busted wide open. You see the side of their head cracked, their noses busted, their lips, pouring out blood.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, these two really freaking showed up and said, we want that paycheck. Shocking, they didn't get a fucking paycheck. Yeah. They didn't get a bigger paycheck than this one.
There's only 2 bonuses I'm seeing. I'm like, how?
There's only 2 bonuses for the Dober and Prepelich fight, and for Charles Jourdain versus Charles Jourdain got one, and then Aurori Kalin got one.
Yeah, I'm like, this is total bull.
It really is. Third round, we see Melissa, of course, pressure even harder and get that. And at that point, Lisboa was gassed out. Her arms were tired. She threw so much power and so much endurance out of there in the first and second round. Then Melissa Cronin finally got her against the corner and just started whooping on her. Picks up a big win in her UFC debut. Congrats to Melissa Cronin. Of course, I picked her. You had Lisboa going for it. I was a bit nervous. And I'm mad because I was like, last week we had the Brazil card or whatever. Was it the Brazil card we had?
Yeah.
So it was very hesitant on who should I pick of Canadians, who should I pick of in terms of Americans or even non-Americans. But I had to go with Melissa Cronin because I feel like the debuts always add something different. And plus, if Lisboa has been in there with all this octagon time, and Cronin's finally stepping in there, it was going to be a very, very iffy fight. And a 50-50 fight, and that's what we got heading to that third round before the finish, of course. What were your thoughts on Melissa Cronin's debut win and Lisboa picking up that loss?
Yeah, really, really impressed with Cronin. For a debut, she looked really comfortable in there and was just able to outpace Lisboa, where, like you were saying, it started out where Lisboa was looking good, and then the fight started to turn, and Cronin really started to take over and just started to outwork her, really. Where that last round, it was just like Lisboa couldn't handle it anymore, and Cronin was just getting started, and she really turned it up in that third and final round and got her out of there. What a performance. Yeah, that's now 2 losses in a row for Lisboa. Tough one, but I think she's still a pretty fun fighter, but Cronin was definitely the better woman on the night, and what a way to start your UFC career. Fighting a pretty tough fighter in Lisboa and putting on a great, what should have been a bonus-winning performance. I don't know, these greedy motherfuckers don't want to give them bonuses, even though there's no other. I'm like, isn't there normally 3 bonuses? What's going on here, guys? So they're just getting lazy with the bonuses now, I guess. Maybe they didn't even watch the early prelims. They're too busy with just watching the main event only, or what? Because I don't get how there's not enough bonuses to be given out on this type of card where there's actually a lot of crazy fights in. If not this one, at least give it to someone else. I'm like, come on, guys. What is this? So maybe they were unhappy with the results or something, but I don't know. I thought it definitely could have won fight of the night for sure. Maybe even a performance of the night with that sort of finish. So crazy to see. I don't know. We talk about this every week where they like to switch up the bonuses. And, I'm like, what's the criteria here, guys? I just don't understand it sometimes. But yeah, what a performance from Cronin. Definitely going to have to keep an eye on her. Definitely a super fun fighter to watch and entertaining. Like, she's willing to go into the fire and just scrap away, and she was able to get her out of there towards the end, and hugely impressive.
Hugely impressive. They gave us 3 women's fights on this card, and that's usually what I hope for, 3 to 4 women's fights on a UFC card, especially when we have so many heavyweights that just really gas themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that respectfully, but we're always given like the same type of like Blagoy Evanov type of situation or whatever, and we're like, okay, what's gonna happen here? And it's really just a clinch work. And then we have the women fight, and they're so hungry to keep their jobs. They're so determined to get another win and stack up and get higher on those rankings. Like we saw last week, Beatrice Mosqueda, or Bia Mosqueda for short, she made her debut, and she's already, she skyrocketed over that big win of Alice Skiba. And then we're thinking to ourselves, oh, she should be next in line for, for a big fight, for a top 15, for a top 10 ranking fight, for how good that she was. But of course, the UFC likes to nitpick a lot of these things with bonuses, with like fight of the night, with a lot of it, especially the booking. Like, for example, we only got a fight of the night, of course, and we only got 2 performance of the night bonuses. Whereas I believe last week we got 5 or 6, and then the week before that we got 4 or 5 or whatever. So it's like they chose who they wanted to give bonuses to, and I felt that that's pretty stupid. When I feel like a lot, if you get a finish and the whole crowd popped up, I don't care if you're not Canadian or you're all Canadian. You got to finish. You deserve a bonus. Very well. It's like Steven Miocic when he knocked out Fabricio Werdum in Brazil for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then them saying, yeah, Stipe, you won in the guy's hometown. We can't give you the bonus. It was only eligible for Fabricio Werdum. That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If Floyd Mayweather would have gotten knocked out by Manny Pacquiao years back and everything, what would have been the case? Manny Pacquiao, the greatest in the world, big bonuses, money, 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 money. You know what I mean? Before Mayweather won that fight, he got the big money, he got the championship. That was the case. So it needs to, especially when they're bringing in Zuffa boxing to Paramount Plus, and they're bringing the UFC to Paramount Plus this upcoming January. They're like, oh, we're gonna have even bigger boosts on our bonuses. Show us now, then.
Yeah.
What's stopping you guys right now? Because you guys are $1 billion organization. It doesn't matter what anybody says. If anyone says, I don't really think so, it's still the UFC. You're under the TKO ban. The WWE is under the TKO banner. The WWE has been $1 billion organization since 2001. Come on now. If anything, they could give everybody a freaking paycheck. They could give a janitor a $5,000 paycheck if they wanted to. It's just all about how they nitpick whichever way they want to go with this.
Yeah, 100%. It's like it's been the same 50K for like so long now. I'm like, guys, the 50K back then is a lot different than it now. Like, we got to keep up with the times, people. Yeah, for real, bro.
Come on now. People are getting tariffed. People are getting taxed. People are getting fucked. It's not fun. Come on now.
Bro. And these motherfuckers have to deal with that, and they have to get beat up for a living. I'm like, come on, guys. At least give them a 100K bonus. I'm like, don't have to give them a bonus every time, but if they do good enough to earn a bonus, may as well make it worthwhile. Where it's like, I'm sure obviously it's useful, but I'm like, they have to pay for so much shit on their own, pay their coaches, do all this shit. And as well as put their body on the line. And then half the time they may have the fight canceled due to something out of their control, aka their opponent pulling out, and then they don't get paid at all. It's like, it's just way too much.
Walter Walker and Muhammad Usman last weekend. That fight was supposed to happen. And then like one day before the fight, I can't fight. I made it all the way here just to be told I can't fight. Come on. Our next fight at middleweight was Yuri Belgorod against Azamat Bekhoev, which we both went for Bekhoev, and of course he.
Yeah.
Wow. Even the commentary was so confused by his actions and his the way that he handled his game plan. He usually goes in there, he'll take you down, he'll rig you down, but Yuri Belgorod is somebody that I should never, and I mean never, doubt again. This man is nuts. So, how nuts is he? This is how nuts. Every teep kick that he landed would send Azamat Bekhoev so far back that it was like a Sparta kick in the movie 300. It just sends you right off that cliff and you're dead. This is a man who has fought and lost to Alex Pereira twice in kickboxing. They fought each other at Glory 49 Rotterdam, Netherlands, where he lost to a TKO cut, and then they fought again where he got knocked out in the first round in New York at Glory 55 in 2018. 2018
yeah, and I think their first fight he actually beat Alex, but then Alex got those wins back and in a good way.
Yeah. By the way, he also fought Israel Adesanya. He also fought Israel Adesanya and lost twice to him by decision. Once unanimous, the other the split. Then he defeated Alex Pereira in 2017. Then he lost to him in the third round. Then he lost him again in the first round. But he decided, you know what? I'm going to say fuck it to my kickboxing career. I'm going to go into MMA. He goes to the United Arab Emirates Warriors event. He picks up a couple of wins, picks up a couple of losses, makes it to the Dana White Contender Series, loses to Marco Tulio by unanimous decision back in 2023, continues to work his way up, gets back to the Contender Series against Taiga Iwasaki, beats him by TKO in the third round, which was his return to middleweight, and he was deducted 1 point due to multiple eye pokes, which I thought was going to be a situation here as well, like, oh, Azamat is going to go for a shoot takedown, get poked in the eye, fuck him up. That wasn't the case. His eye wasn't poked. The side of his head was blown apart like it was a shotgun blast. Yuri was landing these elbows like somebody owed him lunch money. And really, in the UFC, everyone owes you lunch money at this point.
Facts.
He was slamming those elbows over and over again that Azamat Bekhoev could not get the legs, could not clinch the waist, could not, swindle it around, get the body lock, takedown. Nothing for him. And in the second round, it looked like he could have been like, hey, I'm getting back into my energy, back to my group, because he was throwing a lot of big power punches. And, Yuri was not really doing a lot of, movement to that. He was basically taking those punches. And usually when you take the punches, you can show off your strength, show off how that, strong your chin is. But you've been knocked out by Alex Pereira. So you don't want to test that at all, especially in a situation where a wrestler could have massive power out of the freaking blue. But instead, he kept landing those elbows. He took a break in the second round. Third round came in, and he just poured it on. Killed Azamat Batkoev in straight up 55 seconds. So 55 seconds, he saw how gassed that man was. He threw the teep kick, threw more power punches in between all those combos, and that was it. He picks up his big win in his UFC debut. He's been waiting for this moment. He's been waiting a very long time for this moment. So congrats to him.
Yeah.
It's a shocker he didn't pick up a bonus. Again, why aren't these bonuses going out to the fighters? We're picking up back-to-back finishes in the prelims, and they're like, you're not eligible for the bonuses. Why not? Oh, because you're the first fight starting off. So what happens if every other fight, even the main event and the whole main card, suck, and I was the only good fight? Do they still get a bonus, or do I get a bonus now? Come on now. But what were your thoughts on Yusri's? What were your thoughts on Yusri's UFC debut and that big win of Azamat Batkoev?
Yeah, a huge win. Surprised us with how great he looked. Obviously, we know he's a great striker, but he really was able to just dominate the wrestler in this case, and was just a beautiful performance. And Batkoev just couldn't even touch him. I'm like, it was just nowhere on the same level. And Yusri was just so accurate with his strikes. It was like he basically couldn't miss, and it was just incredible to see where he was actually using his range to the best ability. Where we've seen him in the Contender Series look that first one against Tulio, he didn't look great. That's where I kind of was like, okay, maybe this guy is not made for MMA, more for kickboxing. But he showed that he improved in the next time he showed in the Contender Series, and now I feel like he took an even bigger jump with this fight, where Batkoev is someone who we were pretty high on. He was coming in 2-0 already in the UFC, and he's going up against someone and making their debut. We're just thinking, all right, Batkoev's going to be able to take this guy, handle him. Batkoev is a strong dude, but made him look so short. Yusri made him look so short in there, 6'4", 6'5", and used his range to the very best of his ability, especially for middleweight. If you're able to use that range, you're able to really keep these guys away from you. And the accuracy was just so insane to me, where you could tell how much he's been improving. And if he's able to be that accurate, or at least close to that level, he's going to be really scary to deal with, because at that size, that range, it's like you can just keep these guys away from you if you're that accurate, where they don't even want to risk getting touched, and then you just control the fight. And then we saw from there, eventually it leads to a finish. So what a performance, man. Definitely is going to have to be on our radar for kickboxers in this division. Striker is one of the best in the division. Hugely improved from the times we've seen him in the Contender Series, which is a great sign, because you need to be improving all the time in the UFC. Otherwise, you're just going to get past everyone else is improving. If you're not, you're just going to be left behind. So definitely someone we're going to have to keep a radar on. Hugely impressed. Shout out to Alex and Glover training him up, I guess, making him a freaking killer.
He trains under Pereira and Glover?
Yeah. For enemies to lovers arc.
Yeah, from enemies to lovers arc, literally. That's so insane, brother. I mean, that's insane that you said that, but it's insane that you go from rivals. Like, I beat you, you beat me. Now let's go train and become the very best. And look at Alex. Alex is the king of the light heavyweights again.
Yep.
So he doesn't have to worry about this. He doesn't have to move down to middleweight and be like, oh, I have to worry about him. I'm training him to kill the middleweights.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very interesting, because I love his wrestling defense and his grappling defense. It was really top notch in this fight.
Huge.
Against somebody who gets a lot of takedowns like Batkoev. I cannot wait to see what happens next. And after a finish like that, come on, man, get him on that MSG card, get him on that December Vegas card or whatever. Like, there's a lot of fighters that we've seen last couple of like months, 3 months or so. We've seen so many fighters pick up a big win in such a crazy way and show that, hey, I could fight next week or next weekend or whatever. We already know that there's a pay-per-view card coming up this weekend. Is there?
Yep. Tom versus Gunn.
Exactly. So it's like, oh wait, that's going to be very big, but we can't get any replacements just yet, I don't believe. But we'll see. We'll definitely see what's going on in the Twitter world as soon as we're done, wrapping all of this stuff. But we did not pick up a win there. we did not expect Belgodi to do
rough
what
start
he
for
just
me.
did.
0-2.
Right. Yeah. But up next, women's strawweight action Stephanie Luciano against Ravenna Oliveira. I want you to take this fight because, of course, you were pumped for Luciano, and I do want to hear what you had to say from your point and your perspective view of this fight.
Yeah, I mean, another one of those fights where it kind of started out where both women were pretty competitive, and that first round where neither of them was able to separate themselves from the other, but then we saw Luciano just start to keep going and keep outpacing Oliveira, and I think Oliveira just started to get frustrated and couldn't really get any damage off. The accuracy, like I was saying before in previous fights, it's like if you're not able to hit your opponent, then you just start getting angry and you get hesitant. You start second guessing what's going on here. And then Luciano was able to start working her ground game more, get her down one time in that second round, and then from then on, the third round got even better for Luciano. Was able to get her down again, control her again, and then eventually find that rear naked choke, get her out of there. So big ups to Luciano. I really needed that win. She needed that one as well. She was coming off a split decision loss, tough one against Sam Hughes. And she clutched up for us, and we're able to get back on track with the W. Shout out to her. Oliveira, unfortunately, is now 0-2 in the UFC. Her previous loss to Lisboa, who we were talking about earlier in the card. So tough 2 losses for Oliveira, but huge win for Luciano, especially for our picks, and very impressive. Good finish.
Good finish, very impressive, of course. And just it's very good to see. Sorry. Someone it like popped up some crazy thing on the freaking StreamYard right now, like a big old bold letters. I'm like, I was saying, Max, stop talking.
But look outside your window. What?
Look outside your window, and it's like somebody holding up a phone with a dead body down there. You fucking scary. But of course, big win for Luciano. We finally get back into the winning picture for now. And then
for now.
Next fight is the Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos. That's a imagine having to say that 3 times in a row. The Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos. The Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos. The Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos. Like that's like golly, you gotta roll those R's every single time. You gotta fight.
I'm bad at that.
Like, super... against Danny Barlow, who we went for, and at first Barlow was doing some pretty good stuff in that first round. He looked like he was like having himself a good time, and it looked like he gassed himself out. It looked like those arms were not power ready at all in the second or third round, and it just became a big beating, and it's a big bounce back for the Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos, who just picks up another big win. Picks up a big win, of course, in the UFC outcome, Vancouver especially. You want to be able to make the most of these fight nights, especially when the UFC has rarely been in the States in the last couple of months and everything. They've been to Brazil, they went to Shanghai, they went to freaking Vancouver now. Like there's Brazil, like there's so many crazy places that they're going to all over the world just so they can, give the fans a good fan experience. And yeah, the crowd was still a bit pissed off, seeing some of the people lose. But brother, that's the fight game. This ain't professional wrestling. They can't just book you in and be like, "Hey, you're gonna win the end of the night, Bret Hart over Shawn Michaels." Yeah, brother. No, that's not how it works here. You gotta be good and you gotta be great. And that's
no scripts here.
No scripts here, pal. I mean, every UFC is a script, I think. Like,
the refs get the script sometimes if you leave it in the hands of them.
Because who would have thought, Alex Pereira would, come back from a four round deficit against Israel Adesanya, knock him out. They fight months later, and then Izzy delivers it back. Like he gets, stunned against the cage, lands that big blow.
That did seem scripted. It was just too perfect.
It's too perfect. It's like
cinema.
It's like you can't cinema, man. Cinema.
Real, bro. One of my favorite rivalries.
Speaking of cinema, I don't know if you can see it, but Laurie Strode is she's currently wondering who's watching her outside of her window. And I think it might be a guy by the name of Mike Myers. Oh yeah, baby.
That dude's dangerous.
Yeah, Austin Powers is very dangerous. Dr. Evil, come on now. Like that man's a scary motherfucker. But of course, what were your thoughts on Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos picking up this big beating and a big win over Danny Barlow?
Yeah, definitely a very impressive performance. I was high on Danny coming into the Contender Series, and he started out really, really well. And then these last two fights have been a little bit more tough. He got knocked out by Sam Patterson, and then this one was much more competitive. But Santos, I do think, got the better of him, especially towards the end of the fights, where Danny looked good in round one, but like you're saying, it seems like the pace might have been too much, where the power started to go down, and Santos started to be able to just walk through it. And man, he's got a freaking chin on him. Because yeah, we've seen Danny put guys out, but Santos is just eating them and throwing more back at him. And what a performance, man. I was saying, Barlow, big fan of him coming in, but Santos was able to take some of that hype, and now it's his hype. And great bounce back after he lost his UFC debut against Ozzy Diaz. So now he's officially 1-1 in the UFC, plus a Contender Series win where he looked great. So he's a fun fighter. He's straight scrapper, and he's able to eat all these shots and keep him coming back. And he looks like he's always having a good time in there. So definitely going to be someone that's going to be a potential fan favorite. Just watching this dude go in there and scrap, no regard for his chin. Just he's like, hey, dude, I can eat it. So may as well just keep walking towards you. So hugely fun fight. This one could have even been a bonus too. I'm like, lots of fun fights, honestly, this card. So that's why I'm a little surprised with it being greedy with these bonuses. So shout out to these two. Both of them put on a really fun fight. Barlow showed his toughness in there. Coming off that knockout loss, I was worried once Santos started to get going. I'm like, okay, hopefully we don't see another finish for Barlow, but thankfully he was able to stick strong in there, but he wasn't able to get the win for us. So another loss for me, 1-3. 1-3 in the first four. It doesn't get much better, guys, but a little bit better.
It really does. Like, my God, like, it makes you think to yourself, what did I do wrong to you, God? Like, what did I do to you, man?
We were having too many good weeks, bro. We were crushing it lately, so we got to come back.
And the worst part was I was so freaking strong and heavy on these picks. I'm like, this is the best goddamn prediction picks ever. I said it to my boys, and I'm like, you guys are gonna make thousands.
You're like, locked
send
in.
Send me some of that thousands too, and nothing. I mean, it started off good. I was like, oh yeah, and then it ended, and I was, well, my buddy didn't pick Bedkorv, and I was like, okay, you got this good. And then Luciano won. I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep going. And then Barlow lost. I was like, man, fucking throw his phone.
I hate this sport.
I hate this damn place. But I'm not gonna be one of those people that are like, oh, you ruined my parlay. I would, if I ever say that to a UFC
send ethics to your family.
If I ever say that to a UFC fighter or any combat sports person, I hope they grab me by the hair and start 12-6 elbowing me just straight there over and over and over again. Kill me. Murder me right there in the
Bro, I'm like, why are you betting on someone who's trash? For real, they'll be like, you suck. I'm like, well, you're betting on them. So maybe don't be betting on someone you think sucks. Or maybe you just suck at betting.
I'm not going to call this next person trash, but we've been seeing a little bit of signs of some mid performances.
Potential weakness.
Bruno Gustavo da Silva fought off against Park Hyung-sung. Last time we saw Park Hyung-sung, he took on a short notice fight this past August for the UFC's Apex card between Tatsuro Taira and Hyung-sung Park, which we will get into what Tatsuro Taira is doing next in 1 second. But that fight ended with a big knockdown and a lot of wrestling and a big submission face trigger. The next, Bruno Gustavo da Silva works the wrestling, works the takedowns, dominates the whole fight, rocks Park over and over again, finally gets him down, and gets the rear naked choke for the submission win. Back to back.
Yeah, that's tough.
You'd think that when we spoke about this fight, this past August and everything, and we both said to each other, yeah, he's going to have to work on that wrestling. Tatsuro Taira is just too good, but Park, he can come back better. And then that happens. That happened. From winning against Carlos Hernandez by submission, beating Shannon Ross by TKO, beating Choi Sing-gu by submission at the Louis Pivac card in 2023. He's been part of the example of the Road to UFC event since 2022, and since then he has not lost. Now he fights Tatsuro Taira and Bruno Gustavo da Silva, which Bruno Silva is very, very good. But he fights these guys, and he looks like a rookie. He looks like this is his first 2 fights in his MMA career, and he's getting ragdolled completely. Tatsuro Taira got that big win what's happening for him at UFC 323 this December. He's fighting Brandon Moreno, the former a 2-3-time champion in the flyweight division.
Million.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy to say. You know what I mean? Because it's like in wrestling, you see, oh, John Cena is a 17-time champion. Could you imagine an MMA fighter with a 17-time champion? I'm like, bro, is your brain good? Is everything, because you've lost the title as many times as you've won it. So it's like, what kind of record do you got? But Brandon Moreno versus Taito title should be fun. Paul Kyung-sung against Bruno Silva was another life lesson learned the hard way. And it's just continuing to be a big test for Paul Kyung-sung, because where's your wrestling at? Where's your defense at? What's your team teaching you? Because you might explode with these, like, oh, in the third round, like he's pulling off these big punches, or he might do something good. Because in the third round, he was exploding. He exploded a little bit. He started showing some good signs again. Then he got taken down, got his back taken, and submitted. What were your thoughts of Bruno Silva picking up this big win over Paul Kyung-sung, who is now reaching this weird downfall for a moment?
Yeah, dude. I was thinking that maybe it was just a one-time thing with Taira, where that was his first time ever being submitted. That was his first time ever losing. But then we saw in this fight that maybe it is something that he needs to work on, because we see the similar finish again, gets choked and not able to get out. And honestly, this one may have even been worse, because Silva was honestly just walking him down, honestly dominating him from start to finish. And it was just like you were saying, it looks like he's in a whole different league. Silva made Park look like an amateur, and what a performance. Huge performance. Silva has had a really tough schedule in the UFC. Had lost to Manel Kopp, then lost to Joshua Van, so he really needed this win. He's been in there with some of the best of the best. I mean, we're seeing Van fight for a title next. So he had the experience probably
fight, by the way. Very exciting.
Facts, dude. Van, what's not to love? But yeah, so he's been in there with potentially world championship level guys, depending on if Van gets that belt. It's going to be tough against Pantoja, but what a performance. I think that Silva showed that maybe Park does need to really work on some things, and that it wasn't just a fluke victory for Taira, where, okay, Taira is one of the best BJJ guys in the division, and no harm in losing to him, but I think Silva may have seen that tape and saw something that he could exploit, and he did that even on the feet. He did it on the feet, and as well as once it got down there, then it was all over from there, and great performance. So Silva's definitely going to be one of those guys we'll have to keep an eye out. He's has a great resume, even though he has some losses, has some great experience against the best of the best. So maybe we should have seen this one coming, but, with Park was looking so good up until now. So I still think he has a lot of potential. He's still young, but definitely has to improve some stuff.
I think a trip to the American Top Team for him will definitely help in Florida. Go there.
Yeah.
Go get, because look at a lot of those people, a lot of the great wrestlers a lot of the great jiu-jitsu practitioners, a lot of the great grapplers, a lot of the great wrestlers that are all there. You go to the American Top Team, you learn some great things. I'm not saying it's his team's fault, but there could be 50-50 on both sides of how you're handling these training sessions. Because if you're going against Bruno Silva and you're not learning how to sprawl all those takedowns and use your power against it, like, there's a lot of fighters that will sprawl the takedown, hold their opponent's head down to the mat, and then start beating in the ribs just so they can, like Khalil Roundtree, for example, he'll soccer kick you in the rib, he'll hip punch you right in square in the back so that, your spine's like a little bit rattled and whatnot. He will add some damage to you. That's not happening here, where it's so much hesitancy. And then when the third round we finally get an exploding side from Park Kyung-sung, he goes back to being on the ground and submitted. So I don't know if I want to pick him for the next fight.
Yeah, maybe not.
So it really depends on who he's fighting. Because if he's fighting, like, what's that one guy, Chris Mutino, I'll go for Park Kyung-sung. But if you're not going against Chris Mutino, then I don't know how to feel about you, Buster. Our next fight was at bantamweight. I picked Gibson here. I don't know why. And you picked is it Iori Kaling or?
We'll just call him the Mongolian Murderer. That's his nickname.
Yeah. It was a Mongolian murderer against Cody Gibson, and wow, was it a murder? 21 seconds. is all it took.
Accurate
for the
nickname.
Mongolian murder to slice and dice and like Candy Crush right here.
Went
Bro.
Michael
Like,
Myers on his ass.
Like, which hold on a minute. Like, oh man, sorry. It was just showing him right there. It was like legit showing him like right outside. Yeah, he's right there behind this tree, just watching as they're going trick or treating. Which the good old days, trick or treating. That was always
Facts.
fun. I was scared of Michael Myers as a kid. My dad used to scare the fuck out of me with him. Like he would like look in the mirror, like in the window, like watching me, and I'm like, oh my god, like
oh my god,
I'll be bawling my eyes out, like please man, stop it. But I love Michael Myers is like such a nostalgic thing for me. When I was like 7 or 8 years old, I watched the Halloween Rob Zombie movie, sucked. And then it didn't suck bad. I like Danny Trejo in it. You know, he's pretty cool. Mikey, I was good to you. But then I watched the original Halloween, 10 out of 10. Like it's just it's such a great movie. You have to watch every Halloween. And anyone who says it's not that good, I don't want to be near you at all. Like
it's a classic for a reason.
It's a classic for a reason. And the fact that it was released in the same year as Alien, like John Carpenter and Ridley Scott were both like, brother,
they were cooking.
We got some badass motherfuckers coming out here.
For real, but what a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Jamie Lee Curtis, though, 1981, she did Prom Night, the movie, sucked. And then the year later, she does Halloween 2, big box office franchise. It's funny as hell, though, because it's like, you think, oh, hey, I got this, Prom Night, it'll be good. Movie sucks. I watched it, like, last week, fucking hell, it sucked. And then I watched Halloween 2 afterwards, I was like, yeah, apple juice. Like, come on, like, what's going on?
Real,
but Mongolian Murderer treated himself like he was Michael Myers, very quick Halloween kill type of style kill. Cody Gibson stood no chance. As soon as you look up from the fight, you just see him already down and out, and it's like, wow. What were your thoughts on this very quick 21-second win?
Yeah, I picked him, so I was happy to see it. And I think, that was Gibson's first ever time being finished via KO TKO. So that goes to show how hard he hits, because you would think that a guy with the Mongolian Murderer name maybe would have some more finishes, but actually most of his wins are actually decisions. So bro said, fuck it, I'm actually going to live up to my name this time and actually put on an insane performance. 21 seconds is all it took. Walked him right into it just to start. And that is a freaking how you do it, man. And at least this guy got a bonus. Thank goodness. I was beginning to wonder if anyone would get a bonus. But well-deserved bonus. And I think it's pronounced Arichi Lang. I feel like that's how they say it. I can't remember, but
Arichi Lang. Lang.
I was like, I know. I'm hoping that's right. But yeah, shout out to the Mongolian Murderer, dude. What a nickname, and finally really living up to it, because we've seen him before. He's a bit of an inconsistent guy. He was coming off a no contest, and then the loss to Raul Rosas Jr., Chihuihuis, and then now he comes back and gets this insane first-round knockout. So he's back on track.
Exactly. So shout out to him. Can't wait to see what's next for him. And our featured prelim, we had Drew Dober against Kyle Prepelich, and wow. You'd think that Dober was just, of course, losing first round, second round, it started looking a little bit down for him and whatnot. He was landing some good shots, but of course, Prepelich was having a little bit of an extra step. And then a nut shot happened, right? I believe a nut shot happened. Yeah, nut shot happens in third round. Or
Dober powers up from it. I think Dober got hit. Or I can't remember.
Dober got hit in the sack. He got back up, and then he just freaking went balls crazy, literally, and was just going head to head with Prepelich. Knocked him down, got a big shot, and then just kept laying down the blows. In the third round, picks up a big win, and he was deducted 1 point in round 3 due to an illegal groin strike. My apologies.
That's right. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah,
he was
he
down.
Did a nut shot.
If he would have won the round, they said it would have been a draw. He did not want to draw. He went in that third round. He laid out the smackdown, and in 1 minute and 19 seconds, he got the big finish, gets the big win, and picks up a fight of the night bonus. Him and Prepelich for that amazing performance from both sides. What were your thoughts on Dober picking up that win over Prepelich in that fight of the night, matchup?
Yeah, definitely was a banger fight. It was crazy to see you could tell once that point was deducted, Dober's like, all right, I need this finish because it, could have been looking like he was about to face an L or even a draw possibly, but he was like, we're not going to let that happen. He locked in, and he had our backs because we both picked Dober. We were able to get back in the win column, and what a fight. It's just crazy when you see someone just flip that switch where they're not doing too well, but then it's like a mental block where it's like, all right, now I have nothing to lose. He's like, screw it. If I get knocked out, I get knocked out. I'm just going to go all in. We saw Prepelic lose his mouth guard, and then Dober saw that, and he's like, I'm just going to go crazy on him. I feel like maybe the ref could have let it go a little longer. I feel like it was almost a little bit too soon, but I think it probably would have happened either way, where there was no mouth guard and he was getting rocked. So at that point, got to protect the fighter. So I understand why he came in, and I'm sure Dober was ecstatic to see that ref stop it and get him that win. And he really needed it. He'd had some tough. He was saying that they unfortunately lost their unborn child before, and he was up facing 3 losses in a row. So for him to get that victory in that fashion, it probably felt so good. Dober's just an all-around great guy. He'll fight basically anyone, anytime. One of the most active guys in the division, in the whole UFC, really, and one of the most dangerous guys. And we saw that once again, where he's able to get that finish.
For sure. You mentioned the losses he faced in the Octagon. Renato Moicano in 2024, last February. Jean Silva, a month later by knockout. Then he lost to Manuel Torres this past March on the Brandon Moreno Steve Erceg fight night in Mexico City. Then he fights Prepelic. He not won in 2 years. You're down 1 point. It could be a draw, and at that point, the UFC can just easily cut you. You know what I mean? The UFC would have cut him if he did not get this big win. He lands those beautiful uppercuts as soon as Prepelic is covering up his face because you don't want to lose your teeth. You know, and I'm glad that the way the punches were landing, it was like forehead in a way, because you don't want to lose your teeth. Even though it's fucked up brain damage, you're not losing your teeth, especially with a missing mouth guard.
Yeah.
At first, I thought the referee would stop the fight, get the mouth guard back in, and then continue them on. But he already saw how much damage was being poured on. So Drew Dober picking up that big win, especially in the featured prelim, getting that big fight night bonus. Very, very good times. And in the end of it, as we can see here, we both went the same 3 and 4, which was just shocking.
Yeah, horrible.
Like very shocking. I feel like I gotta get a tissue. I'm dealing with this like a sniffling problem or whatever. I feel like it's
no
like
worries,
5
bro.
pounds of coke. I did like 5 pounds of cocaine. But like, of course, moving into the main card. But great featured prelim. Amazing performances from Drew Dober picking up that big win. The Mongolian Murderer just made me very much believe. Bruno Silva pouring down on the downfall of Park Young-sung was amazing. Of course, for his side, to pick up a big win. The Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos should be very exciting to see what happens next for him. Stephanie Luciano picking up that big submission win. Good on her. Yursi Belgori picking up that big knockout win after just dominating the whole portion of the fight. Like, he's truly in his groove. I cannot wait to see what happens next for him. And then Melissa Cronin having that very successful debut. Good on her. I can't wait to see what's next for her, because if she always wants to get rowdy and bloody, then she's going to be a monster every single time for that bantamweight division.
100%.
But starting off the main card, which was broadcasted on ESPN Plus. This whole card was an ESPN Plus type of card. But we started off. Before we do that, I want to say be right back. I'm going to use the bathroom a moment.
Okay. Yeah, guys. Rami, unfortunately, had to beat me again, guys. Tragic. You see how much red this is, too? I couldn't even get a good one when he has his worst predictions of the entire year. My ass had to one-up him and do even worse. So we'll get into why, though, because the refs are on this card. We'll get starting with this Kyle Nelson fight. We'll talk about it when Rami gets back, but what the hell are the refs on? They're on their own time, apparently, because it was complete bullshit. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, my God. I was like, anyways, my fucking nose hurts. I don't know what it is. I feel like if I'm getting sick, God, please don't do this to me. It's like the final week and a half of Halloween time. Don't fucking
For
kill
real,
me.
bro.
Like
It's a ghost.
last December, I got laryngitis and was bedridden for like not even. I was sick, and then I got laryngitis on top of it. I was like, brother, kill
That's
me. Plus,
terrible.
it was very bad times too. Shout out to the people who made me depressed during that time. Fucking hate y'all. So,
Fuck you guys.
but fuck you
So you got a
guys.
problem with Rami, you got a problem with me. Pull up.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do. I've been told that I should get cancer and die. So it's like people are very very heavy with their
For
hatred
real.
towards me. So
Keyboard
who
warriors.
cares? Who cares? But so our opener to this main card was between Kyle Nelson, the Canadian, against Matt Steamroller Favola. Shout out to him because he follows me. But wow, what a crazy freaking ending. We should have already had this fight end in the first round.
Yeah, it should have been over,
Kyle
dude.
Nelson was landing massive blows. Like, so we get into the first round. Nelson's having himself a great time. And I saw what somebody said in like their prediction, like and I liked what they said. They said whoever lands the first blow wins. Really, whoever lands that first big blow will win this fight because Nelson, he's dealt with some adversities. Frivola, he's dealt with some adversities, so it's always going to be against them. But we saw Nelson land that big blow, land those ground and pounds at the end of the first round. Referee basically calls it off.
Yeah, there's time left. Like, bro.
And he's like, oh, it's not called off. Frivola said he did not know where he was. He said, I was confused the whole time because he was like, I went back to my corner. My ears are ringing. And I'm like, okay, so I just got to go to the next round or whatever. It looked a little bit nice for him in the second round. Like he started showing some good signs. But my God.
Yeah.
It didn't last too long. He started getting back to the rock stance that he was in. Then the third round comes in, and Nelson just continues to pour it out. Frivola had nothing in the tank anymore, and it was just about Nelson just performing in front of his crowd, in front of his Canadian people, and picking up this big, big win here to, of course, keep his job, keep things moving. What were your thoughts on Nelson's big win here?
Yeah, I thought he was robbed of a finish straight up. I'm like, how do you end the fight? I mean, how do you end the round 3 seconds early when the dude's about to finish him? Like, Favola is this close to being out cold. And I think it was Big Dan, I can't remember, but the ref decides to jump in. Yeah, Dan Mergliotta, the ref, freaking Dan, decides to jump in, and then he's saying, oh, I thought I heard a bell. I'm like, shout out to Brady for this one. The first referee to have CTE, Dan Mergliotta. Got that one from Brady because I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Heard a bell? Now you're hearing random freaking phantom bells? I'm like, Bo might be haunted by some sort of ghost for Halloween because he's just hearing things now. When there was 3 seconds ago, Nelson's about to get the finish, and then he decides to jump in early, and then we have to watch the rest of the fight, and Favola is clearly still a little bit affected, and then Nelson's not able to have quite as good as the moments besides that first round, so he still is able to get the win, but I'm sure he would have liked to get that finish, wouldn't have had to do those next 2 rounds, and would have been able to just get out of there quickly. So terrible refereeing. I feel like, yeah, we saw that with it was Neil Magny and Jake Matthews, where it was a similar situation. They seemed to end it early over something that, like, and then Magny ends up getting the win. So this one wasn't quite as bad where the original quote unquote winner didn't lose, but I'm still like, dude, what are we doing here? There needs to be some sort of repercussions here. Imagine if the NFL was just like, all right, we're ending the quarter early, even though they're about to score. Like, what? Like, for real.
Right.
How is this even possible?
Exactly. Like, could you imagine? Because the New York Giants game, did you watch the Giants and Broncos game this past Sunday?
I didn't watch it, but I saw that crazy comeback.
So, we saw Jackson, reach the ball and get the, big touchdown. There's 30 seconds left. Could you imagine if the referees just said,
I heard a bell.
They're not going to bounce back in 30 seconds. Just end the game right now.
For real,
bro. And then you see freaking Bo Nix fucking dart one out there. I don't know if it was Bo Nix or it was like Drew Lock, but dart one out there, get a big win. Get dart one another one out there, go out of bounds, and then get get that 39-yard kick.
For real.
Cinema.
Yeah.
And plus, on our pick'em, I had Denver winning, and then Brady went full like New York for some reason. He went Jets and Giants.
I think
and
I picked the Giants too. I can't remember.
I believe you did. I'm back in first place. I'm fully ahead of first place. Like I was tied with Sean for like the last 2 weeks, and now I'm gonna be the first one to not only hit 50 again. I already hit 50. I'm gonna be the first one to get to hit 80. So I'm like, God bless
Rami is
America.
back.
And I'm gonna
took all the predictions from UFC and transferred over to NFL this week. You know, can't win them all.
The one thing I was obsessed though, the Cincinnati and Pittsburgh game. I think that was like the one game where like
I loved it.
I loved it. I was very happy to see Pittsburgh lose. Shout out Brady. But I wish I picked Cincinnati, you know, because my buddy was like, oh, they've never lost in the all-white gear. My buddy Rob from Ohio, he's like, they've never lost in the all-white gear, whatever.
The zebra shit,
whatever. Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's pretty fucking tough, but I think they lose today. So next time I see that
Joe Flacco,
hey, Joe Flacco, the legend, the greatest game in the world. I think we should get that again for Thanksgiving. Get that again for Halloween Day. Just give us those over and over again. All these games. They're so much fun.
For real, bro. The unction.
But of course, Nelson picks up the win. We did not go for him. But in our next fight, we both went against each other. You went Davy Grant, the Englishman. I went Charles Jourdain.
This is a cost me.
And my God, I was like. At first, I was so scared because Davy Grant's got some power in his hands. It doesn't matter how old he looks. It doesn't matter if he's in a wheelchair. It doesn't matter if he's like in a hospital bed and he's restricted. The second he pulls out that arm and hits you with it, you're being sent straight to like Narnia. You're gone. You are not going to be in America for any longer. But Charles Jourdain, 3 minutes in, catches a big move, gets into the ground, gets the guillotine choke. And chokes out Davy Grant. 3 minutes is all it took. It took 3 minutes for this fight to end, and we got ourselves a big win. And not only a big win, I forgot to mention
you got yourself a big win.
Yeah. But Mongolian Murder picked up a big performance of the night bonus, and so did Charles Jourdain. These were the only two fighters to pick up a performance of the night. Not Melissa Croden, not Yusari Bulgari, not Stephanie Luciano, not Drew Dober picked up the fight of the night, but you know, later on, Manon Ferro, and even the main event. I mean, the main event did not deserve any bonuses. It deserved one of those like obituaries that you're just like, yeah, I'm reading this just because of why not.
For real, dude. They need some oxygen, specifically RDR.
And it wasn't even Colorado. It's Vancouver, brother. Like, come on, you weren't even high elevation.
Yeah, it's like sea level, basically.
Come on now. I hear how people breathe out there. They breathe normally fine. Like, come on now. But Charles Jourdain picks up the big win here, gets the performance night bonus for a guillotine choke submission over Davy Grant. And of course, Charles Jourdain, the Canadian, had the big up inch from the crowd. Everybody was rooting for him. It had been quite some time for him. Last time he fought was last November for the UFC's fight night between Brandon Moreno and Amir Albazi in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So for him to come back in Vancouver after making his bantamweight debut, picking up performance on that bonus, going against Davy Grant in his next fight in Vancouver, and picking up another performance on that bonus. That's the 100K man right now. Like that's right there. That's great stuff. Prior to that, he lost to Gene Silva by knockout. Of course, a lot of people were losing to Gene Silva. We didn't expect Gene Silva to face the fate that he felt against Diego Lopez, but that's the fight game. Mm-hmm. Sean Woodston was another person to pick up a big win over Charles Jourdain. Prior to that, Ricardo Ramos, Kron Gracie, Landa Vanata, crazy name, Andre Urel, all those names were victims of Charles Jourdain. But Gene Silva, Sean Woodson, Nathaniel Wood, and Shane Burgos, who doesn't even work for the UFC anymore. Shane Burgos, what a name. Now works for PFL. Hopefully everything goes well for him in his next upcoming season. But just crazy stuff. And then, of course, Jourdain able to bounce back. Davy Grant, for example, is currently 39 years old. He could have fooled me. He looks like he's 50. And I don't mean that in a way. But, like, He loses to Charles Jourdain. Prior to that, he defeated Damon Blackshear and Ramon Tavares. Damon Blackshear was a fight that I think we went for the Blackshear, and then Davey Grant picked up that win, and we were like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" Like, you know what I mean? Because he's so old, and I mean I respect the way. But when you're getting older and older in your age, you start losing that drive, that fire, that fuel to get back into the octagon or get back into any fight. His last loss was in 2023 to Daniel Marcos. Now he picks up a loss 2 years later. I don't see him getting cut from the UFC, but I do see him contemplating what's next for him. Do I continue to accept on these fights, or do I decide, like, you know what, now it's time that I hang up the gloves? It'll be very interesting. But what were your thoughts on Charles Jourdain's big win here?
Yeah, what a win. I obviously picked Davey Grant. I remember that last fight against Blackshear, and I was thinking, all right, I have to pick him. And I'm pretty high on him, honestly, because he's just a fun fighter. Even though he's an old man, he just has this crazy tendency to put on these crazy performances and get these crazy upsets a lot of the time, but wasn't so lucky this time. Jourdain nearly gets him out of there with that flying knee, which would have been the first time he's ever been knocked out, but he goes to his bread and butter lately.
It was so close.
The guillotine, his last 3 wins have all been by the guillotine choke, so he seems to have found his new signature move where he's able to lock that in and they're not getting back out. So what an impressive performance, especially against someone like Davey Grant, who we've seen in there with so many of the best guys, so many crazy fights, tough losses, lots of upset wins, though. I was hoping we'd get an upset win, but it looks like Jourdain had other plans for us. And he lived up to the Air Jourdain name with those flying knees, and that one that landed was just absolutely nasty. He got up for real. The bunnies on him were crazy. Poor Davey Grant didn't even see it coming. Totally rocked him. And then it was all over from there. Jourdain was able to lock it in. What a performance. Jourdain definitely, now that he's moved down in weight, he's looking good. 2-0 now at the 135-pound division. He looks lean in there, like really lean. I was wondering if he maybe was too lean, but clearly not. And it's looking like he may have found his correct division where he was never the biggest 145er. So I think being a 135 where he's able to look that good, not have to put his body on the line with a crazy weight cut, because clearly if he was having a crazy weight cut, I don't know if he'd be that good, but man, he's looking amazing at that weight.
But shout out to, of course, Jourdain for that guillotine. Like he keeps hyping it up and praising it. And shout out to his nutritionist as well, because that man that person, whoever's in charge, is keeping him great, is keeping him in check. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens next. But our next fight was a wild one.
Yeah, I didn't see this one coming, even though I picked her. I expected it to be close.
Exactly. Manon Fiorot back in the octagon after picking up a loss over Valentina Shevchenko for the Women's Flyweight Championship, which now Valentina Shevchenko will fight Zhang Weili in the upcoming maybe month or two or so. So that's going to be a very big banger. I have very, very big hopes that Zhang Weili will dethrone Valentina, but it all really depends, because they're both, their styles are perfect. They're both so perfect with each other. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
For real, bro.
But Jasmine the Vicious, what a career she's had. Every time she gets somebody down to the ground, she can pound on them, she can choke them out. She destroys them every single time. And then a minute into this fight, she tries to get into the pocket with Manon Fiorot, which she should never do, and she gets caught clean. She can't even get up. That it looks like she's trying to pull down Manon Fiorot, but she's still in a stunned state. Turns to her stomach and starts getting pounded on by Manon Fiorot on the backside. Referee calls it off. Jasmine was very, very frustrated, but it's understandable. Like, you worked your way up, got this loss, sucks, but it's also the fight game. Like, you put so many people in this situation, it's now your situation to beat, and because that's just the way that you can't have two winners. So it's like someone's gonna have to walk out of there with a big, big win. That was Manon Fiorot, who picks up the win over Jasmine the Vicious after losing to Valentina Shevchenko. Now makes you wonder, does she fight the winner of the championship bout? Because what could really be next for her? You know what I mean? What could really be next for Manon Fiorot? Who else does she have to fight? This women's flyweight division, like if we go into the UFC rankings, which usually I have out, but now I will have it out right now. But we go to example the women's flyweight division. the champion, yes, is Valentina. Now Natalia Silva.
Yeah, she's probably up next.
I totally forgot about her. Manon Fiorot against Natalia Silva. I think that fight should happen next. Because you have it too busy. Natalia Silva, her win at UFC 315, that was great. UFC 322 is coming up, so you gotta get busy.
Active.
You gotta get active.
You can't just wait.
Manon Fiorot is right there at number 2, basically number 1. Like Jasmine Vicious was the number 5 ranked. And there's Erin Blanchfield. There's Alexa Grasso, who lost to Natalia Silva. Erin Blanchfield, she beat Rose Namajunas. Erin Blanchfield is set to fight at UFC 322, the same card of Valentina Shevchenko and Zhang Weili, where Blanchfield will fight Tracy Cortez. So that's gonna.
Yeah.
I feel like Blanchfield is gonna have all the power in the world with that one, but it also depends on how Tracy handles that. But if we're getting Valentina and Zhang Weili and Blanchfield and Tracy Cortez on that card, Manon Fiorot and Natalia Silva should definitely be fighting on that card. Not even just that card. If you want to, because that fight's on November 15 at MSG. Have them fight in December. And then you have a clear-cut winner for 2026 of who should be fighting for the championship.
Yeah.
Like they did with Joshua Van and Brandon Royval. We needed a clear-cut winner of who fights Alejandro Pantoja, because he's been dominating the scene for so long. Now Van's up next in line. Now we gotta wonder what's gonna happen next. But what were your thoughts on Manon Fiorot's big win here over Jasmine Vicious?
Yeah, I'm mega impressed with Fiorot. I was expecting this was a tough one for me to predict. I was almost wanting to go with the younger fighter, Jasmine, the more has some more momentum on her side, where Fiorot was coming off that loss. But man, Fiorot made quick work of her, caught her perfectly as she was coming in, like you said, and then it was all over from there. She saw blood in the water and really started, those ground and pound shots were vicious. Jasmine was complaining a little bit, but definitely was a great stoppage. I think it was going to happen either way. The ref did her a favor. Let her live to fight another day, because Fiorot was locked in once she got her rocked, and she was definitely rocked, so definitely had no issue with the stoppage whatsoever. I'm sure Jasmine was just a little bit upset. First loss in a long time, and first time she'd ever been finished, so that's a new emotion, and definitely is going to be one that she's going to need to learn from. But it's just a fight game when you're in there with the best of the best, especially like someone like Manon, who's really big and really strong. You got to be careful. And unfortunately, she walked right into that one. What a performance from Fiorot, where she got her early and then wasted no time in getting the finish. So pretty much a 10 out of 10 performance for Fiorot.
Yeah, as usual. I remember the time she fought Rose Namajunas, she broke her hand with a punch. Like, she legit broke Yamajunas' hand with a punch, and she's continued to dominate the fight. And even then, I was like, man, she's so freaking tough. The only time I ever went against her was for this fight and for the Valentina fight. Two fighters where I think, they have some very, very big power on it. Valentina walked out, but Jasmine got finished, and it was her first finish in her UFC and MMA career, I believe. So it was crazy, crazy work. But our next fight, after you picked up that win with Manon Fiorot, was Ayman Zahabi against Marlon Chito Vera. And wow, the number 9 ranked Ayman Zahabi on a 7-fight win streak over Marlon Vera, who has not won in quite some time. They fight here, split decision win, but we're gonna get inside the breakdown of it. First round, Chito Vera was looking pretty damn good for himself, a little bit back into his form, waiting for the fighter to come in, but landing off some beautiful shots. I remember when he fought, like, all these fighters, like all the last 5 years of fighters, every single time he was like, oh, you better be scared of me, I'm gonna fucking kill you, bro, I'm gonna fucking end you. And like, the only time we ever saw that killer instinct was against Sean O'Malley in the first fight. The second fight, he got pieced up completely. Against Petr Yan, he got pieced up completely. There's been so many fights where he fights these guys, and the build-up is, I'm the scariest motherfucker ever. And it really is. Marlon Vera looks like a scary motherfucker. I wouldn't want, like, I saw that video of those people when they pulled up to him, like, on his car. He pulled out a gun, fucking waved it right at them. I was like, he doesn't need a gun. That's the thing. That's the scary part about Marlon Vera. You don't need a gun to go and beat some people's asses. But just to have that on you, it's scary. But he comes into this fight, comes to this situation and people are like, I think that, Ayman Zahabi is me crazy. And I wanted to make this tweet, but I didn't want to make it after the fight happened because I felt like the way that Vera reacted to the loss wasn't very fun. But I wanted to put out, Marlon Vera is not a good guy. How do you accept months ago an interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and then you fight him months later in the Octagon? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do that? How do you go and accept an interview with somebody and say, hey, thank you so much for letting me be on your show. Shout out everybody. And then months later, you're like, I'm gonna fucking kick his ass. That's the good joke about Ayman Zahabi. It looks like Ariel Helwani is just like legit twins.
And they're both Canadian.
The whole time I was watching the fight, I was like, brother, I think this is Ariel Helwani now. But second round comes in. Zahabi starts getting a couple of good blows, good pieces, but still it was Vera's. A little bit of Vera was putting it out there, but not too much. Not too much.
Mm-hmm.
Third round comes in. Zahabi explodes. He lands better combos. I felt like Vera truly believed that because I'm standing in the center octagon and I'm landing these little bit of kicks and whatnot, that I'm doing great work. But Zahabi was the one exploding, bursting out there, doing all these different types of tactics to be able to show the judges, hey, we're on my card, you're on my side and everything. Last 10 seconds, they want to throw blows. Zahabi does his business, but then slips out of it because when you're gonna get too fucked up, and then goes to dap up Vera, no dap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, already no respect right there.
I'm like, you haven't even won the loss, and you're not even dapping him up. I'm like, bro.
And I would have been like impressed from both sides if I was Vera or if I was Zahabi. Like, my God, I went through war with you, brother. Let's go see who wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as they announced that Ayman Zahabi wins, Vera's pissed off, throws his stuff, goes to the wrong octagon door, has to be sent to the other octagon door. I'm just like, that's
not a good look.
He did say on the MMA Hour yesterday that he legit left the arena in 90 seconds, was at his hotel already. Like, he went to the back, said, fuck this shit, took off his gloves, got the x-ray for his finger, walked to his hotel, and was there in like 90 seconds to smoke himself like a dab or whatever the fuck. But
yeah,
good.
It's just like
I'm good on Ayman Zahabi for picking up another win. That now bounced him into the top 6 because Marlon Vera was the number 7 ranked. You get that big win right there. You overcome Marlon Vera, of course. Decent Figueiredo did pick up that win over Montel Jackson, so I believe he can keep his spot safe. Song Yadong, he had that win over Henry Cejudo, so his spot is safe. But that last 4 people, Sean O'Malley. We haven't seen him win his last 2 fights. He lost the Wallace Willie. Petr Yan, he picked up that win over Marcus McGee. Now he's fighting for the championship next. Umar Nurmagomedov is fighting, I believe, Mario Batista this weekend? Or, hold on, UFC 321 is, this weekend. Umar Nurmagomedov against Mario Batista. That's a fight that we're going to have to definitely look into. I think Umar takes it, but Mario's got to pull out a really big knee to stop Umar from even getting close to his waist. And then Corey Sandhagen just lost, to Merab Wallace Willie. I would like to see Zahabi against Sandhagen. And if we're definitely picking up a fight like that of, hey, who can get back to that top 5? Who's building themselves up to get back to that title fight? Corey Sandhagen, Ayman Zahabi, that would be a pretty good one. It's either Sandhagen against Zahabi or it's Sandhagen against O'Malley. And I think those 2 fights are definitely great ones to put it together because they're both very pure strikers. If they get rocked or stunned, they start throwing blows because they want to be made out of concrete. But of course, Zahabi wins over Vera. What were your thoughts on the aftermath? If I asked you, my apologies.
I mean, I hate to see Vera acting that way, man. He used to be one of my favorites, but now it's like, bro, you got to be gracious in win or a loss, especially in like, bro, it was not like it was not a valid loss. Like, he did get the knockdown in round 2, but that was pretty much his only good moment where he really could tell that he was putting him on him. And then he kind of slowed up after, allowed Zahabi to recover, and then Zahabi wins round 3. So I'm like, you can't win one round and expect to win. I don't know why he was so mad. Like, it's just so weird to me. Clearly, something's going on in his mental where every time he loses, he thinks it's a robbery. I'm like, bro, sometimes you just
Can't
lose,
be that
and
way. Yeah.
that's just how it is. And yeah, it's definitely not helping you get any more fans, and it's probably not helping you get any better if you think that was a winning performance where the hobby probably won round 1 and 3, and then you're acting like you're throwing a tantrum. I'm like, bro, aren't you guys supposed to be grown men? You can't handle a loss a little bit better? I understand that judges can be bad sometimes, but it's like, bro, this is nothing new here. Judges, don't leave it to the judges. You've never heard that saying? Don't. If you want to be mad, then maybe knock the guy out. And then Marlon saying, "Oh, if I saw one of the judges, I would went up to him." I'm like, bro, now you're going to try to attack a judge? I'm like, dude, maybe take that energy towards your opponent in the octagon instead of towards the judges. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to worry for his mental. I understand he hasn't had a win since 2022. I mean, since 2023 against Pedro Munoz. Now I lost 3 in a row, lost 4 of his last 5. So it's definitely been a rough time for him. So I understand he's having a tough time, but it's like Zahabi seemed like he was being a class act after, and I just don't get why he was so mad. I'm like, he was already mad before he even lost the decision. I'm like, you're not even shaking the dude's hand before you even know you lost. So I'm like, if you thought you won, wouldn't you be like, oh, I respect? But so I'm like, I don't know what sort of mental gymnastics is going on in his head, but hopefully he can figure that out. And yeah, it's definitely not the sport where you want to be having those sort of getting in your head moments where I'm like, bro, just focus on beating the guy up, less about the judges. Because yeah, Zahabi's a tough motherfucker, dude, and he has a funky style. I always look at him and he's like has this weird Philly shell going on, and his foot, he plods around the octagon, doesn't look the most athletic, but then he'll explode, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm like, this dude can really scrap. So Zahabi's definitely going to be a contender that we're going to have to see what happens where they match him up with next. He's going to be getting one of those top guys for sure. So this is where the tests really get tougher and tougher. Marlon was probably his toughest test yet, and now it's just got probably going to be even tougher because that top of that division is just straight killer. So I'm going to be interested to see what happens. He's definitely hungry for that title contention, and I think that he has the right tools for it. Definitely a tough guy who knows how to recover from being hurt and can win these scrappy decisions, which is really important. And yeah, great performance. Hate to see Marlon be so salty.
You hate it. You hate to see this type of stuff happen, and it makes you wonder, like, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that deep. And if you got the win, example, if Marlon Vera had gotten the win, well, Woody would have shaded like I'm Zahabi, like, oh, I'm better than you, what I mean? And they got on the Ariel Helwani show like the next 2 days and been like, yeah, I don't like the guy, yada yada yada. This is I'm next in line for a title shot. That's what it would have been. I don't like that type of situation because you haven't won in quite some time. Go fight somebody that you can actually beat. And Zahabi should have been a guy you could beat. Like, if you were so angry with the judges, then why didn't you put that power in your fights?
Yeah, but, especially after you drop him. He stopped throwing him. Like, you dropped him in round 2, and then you allowed him to recover fully. And then Zahabi started going off in the end of that round. So I'm like, even though you dropped him, Zahabi started doing better in the end. So it was just not a good night for Marlon mentally or in the octagon.
Exactly. And heading into a co-main event, I want to take a different turn on this because it's really the most confusing type of situation ever happened.
Yeah.
We saw multiple groin strikes on Kevin Holland that sent him down. The second one was a big knee to the cock and balls.
Yeah.
Straight up. And he was down for 5 minutes. The referee, Dan Mergliata, was like, hey, you want to keep going? And he's like, fuck it, I'll go. Which should have been a point deduction. Should have after 2 already. It should have been a point deduction.
Like, within a minute, and they're just like, nah.
And then the next round comes and the doctor's asking Holland, hey, can you keep going? Are you good to go and whatever? And he's like, I guess so. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have to be ready to go. I'm not gonna go and quit because my fucking nuts. I'm not gonna be like Cedricus, like Dumas, whatever like that. A couple weeks ago.
Exactly. I'm like, that looks more suspicious to me than this. I'm like, people are saying Kevin faked it. I'm like, bro.
No, dude.
It's 2 in a row. What do you mean faked it?
The worst part is when anyone ever says that, like some dude on Twitter would be like, yeah, he faked it. Oh man, that doesn't actually hurt. Let me kick you square in the balls.
For real, bro.
And then you have to fight me. twice. I kick you twice square in the fucking balls, and then you have to fight me in 5 minutes. Are you gonna survive?
Bro,
No.
like,
and especially if I'm gonna wrestle you, do you know when you get kicked in the balls, it's like your balls get shot right into your stomach.
bro.
It gives you butterflies, and then it ruins your whole fucking hour.
And it can last for a long ass time.
It can last for freaking hours of just your balls being in pure fucking pain. I've had it happen. My balls have hit guardrails. My balls have hit freaking cages. My balls have hit freaking the bar for a bike. It's hit that multiple times. There's been so many situations where our balls have been affected.
Bro, all it takes is a little bit.
Exactly, a little bit fucking flick even, and you're like, fucking dying. You're holding your stomach. You're holding onto the walls, like, and you're like, Mason, what are the numbers, Mason? Like, you're fucking losing it. But like, my God, like, I understand the whole point deduction. And then Mike Malott didn't really do a lot. Like, neither guy.
Yeah.
It felt like Mike Malott was fighting with the broken testicles.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Holland wasn't really able to do a lot. He got swung around, spun around, taken down. But in the end, we saw Mike Malott win 29-28 on all judges' scorecards. But if there was a point deduction,
bro, could have been a draw.
What would have been exactly? It would have been a draw. What would have been like? How would they have changed their ideas, their perspectives, the way of handling the second and third round for the judges and for the coaches, for Malott and for Holland and whatnot.
Yeah.
It feels like such a clusterfuck, and especially for a co-main event too.
And it was fucking Dan again, bro. I'm like, Big Dan needs. What's up with his night, bro? Ending an early round and now this. I'm like, what's going on?
The new officials, the old officials, it feels like these guys are just they're really slipping up a lot these past few weeks, and
it's been rough.
It's not a good look, and it's been very, very rough. The judges already are on crack, so when we see the referees do this sort of fight as well, like, come on now. But what were your thoughts on Malott? What were your thoughts on the Malott nut shot and the win?
Yeah, dude. At first, I was like, all right, that's unfortunate accident, and then I'm seeing Malott go to the crowd while Kevin's hurt, acting like he faked it. I'm like, bro, you just hit him twice in the nuts in like a minute, and you're fucking complaining, acting like he's faking it. I'm like, bro, I just don't understand. You should be lucky, thanking this lucky stars that you don't get a point deducted. He's like, he was milking it. He wanted a point taken. I'm like, bro, you just got dropped. Why would he be looking for a way out after he just rocked you and dropped you? You're just on your ass 5 seconds ago. And then you hit him with 2 nut shots, and now suddenly he wants to stop fighting. I'm like, maybe because he just hit him in the nuts. For real, bro. I'm like, Malott was just pissing me off this fight because not only is he acting like he's faking it, Kevin is clearly compromised the rest of the fight, and then Malott is still not even putting it on him. I'm like, bro, so you want to act like he's faking it, then he's clearly still injured, and then you're still not doing shit, and you barely freaking win, and then he's still going on Ariel talking about, I think he was faking it. It barely hit him. I'm like, bro, it barely hit him. You did it twice in a row, dude. I'm like, obviously it probably, it hurts one time, and it's probably still hurting, and then you hit it again. I'm like, bro, the fact that he wants to act like Kevin Holland, of all people, is looking for a way out of a fight, the guy who fights 5 times a year, who fights anyone anytime, will fight multiple divisions, is looking for a way out. I'm like, this is just clown shit, bro, especially after he got dropped. I'm like, why would someone who just dropped you start faking an injury after he nearly knocked you out? I just don't understand it whatsoever, dude. It's just some sort of mental coping from Malott. I'm like, I just don't get why you can't be like, my bad, I shouldn't have done that. I'm like, I don't get why you have to try to go at his integrity saying he's faking it when it's Kevin fucking Holland, dude. We've seen this dude be knocked out from a headbutt, keep fighting, and then get choked out. You didn't see him fucking faking no injury. I'm like, dude, this shit's just bullshit. So yeah, Malott, I'm gonna be hoping that he faces a little bit of a tougher competition next time, and hopefully he doesn't knock anyone in the nuts again. But
very interesting.
Credit to him for getting the win, but that's about it for real, bro. I'm like, this dude was pissing me off.
Kevin Holland has choked out Vicente Luque, then fought Daniel Rodriguez like a month and a half later, lost that fight, and then goes and fights Mike Malott, and Malott to think, he's faking it.
Bro, I'm like, what do you mean he's faking it? He kept fighting, bro. I'm like, he could have literally got the no contest in the first round. Well, what? I don't understand.
I legit was thinking, he's gonna go for the no contest, understandable, and he didn't. I was like,
And then this motherfucker's still saying he's faking it. I'm like, bro, he didn't go for the no contest. I understand if that happened, then you want to be like, okay, he was just looking for a way out. Okay, even though he just dropped you. But I'm like, bro, he literally kept fighting all 3 rounds despite you freaking nut tapping him twice. And he still has shit to say. I'm like, bro, you just should be lucky you didn't get a draw. And you should be lucky he hit him in those nuts because he was looking good in round 1, and then he looked completely different the rest of the fight. But yeah, credit to him a lot for the win, but that's about it. Dan should have taken a point. But yeah, it was just a tough watch, honestly. And I freaking picked Kevin, so it was double pain. At least you picked Mike. So, that's a nice little consolation prize.
I felt like I was walking away from a very bitter win because it was cool. It was cool. But I would have felt this way if I picked Derek Lewis against what was the guy, Teixeira?
Yeah, where he the early stoppage.
Yeah, and I know other people like, yeah, Derek Lewis won, ha ha ha. It's like pouring the milk first and then pouring the cereal second. That's what the finish felt like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not right. That's not right. That's not how it's supposed to end.
For real, though. I was not a fan of that. The attitude or the reffing. For real, I'm like, Bo, it's an unfortunate situation, and then he just acts like he's totally faking it. I'm like, come on, dude. You can't nut tap someone twice and then say they're faking it. I'm like, all right, then let him nut tap you in that same way and see how you feel. I'm like, I just don't understand it whatsoever. So definitely a crazy referee performance from Dan this fight. I mean, first he had the Phantom Bell ending the round early, and now this not taking a point for 2 infractions.
I'm gonna start
back to back.
I'm gonna start showing up to the UFC arenas and whatever, and be like, so what were your thoughts of getting hit in the nuts? Were you bleeding out from your piss?
For real, bro. I was ready for him to pull out his nuts and show the doctor and be like, bro, something's wrong.
So Sergio Dumas was about to fucking do that
himself, bro. For real.
But in our main event, I don't really know how to handle this one either because that was the first time I think we've seen an exhaustion ending in a fucking long while. We both picked Reinder de Ridder, who has dominated Bo Nickel in 2 rounds straight. For 2 rounds straight, brutalized his ribs, killed him. To where Bo Nickel was like, I gotta change up my style. It forced Bo Nickel to change up his style completely. And then Robert Whittaker for 5 rounds, even though he dropped Reinder de Ridder in the 4th round, was still getting completely dominated the whole time. He fights Brendan Allen, who has a dead body showing up on the camera, who decided to change his nationality to Canadian for 1 night only, and says, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. And he didn't have to do much for the first 2 rounds, and then all of a sudden rounds 3 and 4, just a shit show shutdown. Brendan Allen completely wiped off Reinder de Ridder, who said, I was dealing with norovirus early in the week. Okay? I broke my hand in the 1st round. Okay? Oh, my spine seized up in the 3rd round. Okay.
I'm like, how did that happen?
So basically, you're basically just saying every time you got hit or every time you did something, you broke a body piece of yours. You know what I mean? You broke your hand, you seized up your spine. Like, brother, what's going on? And no offense to him, but him tweeting out, oh, Dana, I want Hamza, Adesanya, Fluffy Hernandez, give me those guys. If he would have fought Fluffy Hernandez, how worse would that have been?
Yeah.
That would have been Brendan Allen's great, but Brendan Allen I think can even tell I beat this guy, I brutalized him, exhaustion. Fluffy Hernandez would have had to probably out in 2 rounds. And I'm not saying that anything shady or anything messed up towards Brendan Allen. He got the win, good on him. He's the first guy to beat Reinder de Ridder in the UFC. So now it skyrockets him because people are like, oh, if Reinder wins over here, then he should be next in line for a title fight. He could be next in line, top 2, top 3, right there. It's next in line for him.
100%.
No. Nope. Because the middleweight division right now, as we see it, was Reinder de Ridder was number 4 ranked. Brendan Allen was the number 9 ranked. So Brendan Allen just skyrocketed above, it's example, he skyrocketed over Robert Whittaker, who's dealing with that loss, Caio Brau, who's dealing with that loss, Israel Adesanya, who's dealing with his loss, and Sean Strickland, who's dealing with his loss. There's 4 fighters there who have all lost some big freaking fights, And like example, the only people who have won out of that whole top 10 is Brendan Allen, Michael Venom Page, over Jared Cannonier, um, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez over Muhammad Dolitsi, and Nasruddin Imavov over Kaya Baral, who is the number 2 ranked. Number 1 ranked is Dricus Duplessis, then Nasruddin Imavov, Sean Strickland, Reinder de Ridder, Izzy. Who's next in line for Hamza? Like, it just really only goes to Nasruddin Imavov, really, or unless you really just want to say, fuck it, and we'll give Brendan Allen the next shot, which I don't think should happen. I think the next fight that should happen, it should be Brendan Allen against Anthony Hernandez. I think you should just settle that right there and everything, find out, because, hold on. They already fought before. It went the distance, of course, this past February. I think you should get another fight out of. I think you should get another fight out of them, or unless you want to do Brendan Allen versus Nasruddin Imavov, because really, there's only 3 guys now who deserve a title shot: Imavov, Allen, Fluffy Hernandez. Fluffy Hernandez makes the most sense, but it's also very, very picky on it. But what were your thoughts on this? On this loss?
It was definitely a weird one.
This weird loss.
For real, because de Ridder looked good in round 1, but it seemed like that was all the energy he had left, because after that first round, Allen was able to just do what he wanted with him after that, and it just started to get ugly quick, where de Ridder became exhausted. Allen did what he said he was going to do, and made us all look dumb, because we were thinking de Ridder's has all the momentum in the world, just beat Robert Whittaker, former champion, one of the best. We saw what he did to Bo Nickel, beat Kevin Holland, and then also beat Jared Mearshart, who always is a tough outing. But it was just crazy to see that Allen did exactly what he said he was going to do, and that was surprising to me, because I know Allen's definitely one of the top guys, but I didn't realize that he was going to do that. I was trolling him hard with the changing his nationality just for the
me too
crowd.
Me too.
And he was being a little bit cocky coming in. Oh, I'm stronger than this guy. I would train with him, but I would stay away from him. I didn't want him to learn anything from me. I'm like, okay, buddy, maybe you should have learned something from him, but clearly not. He had the strategy down, and it was a really, really impressive performance. From pretty much round 2 on, was just straight Brendan Allen. De Ridder had nothing for him. He threw up a few submissions, desperation submissions, trying to do some crazy triangle chokes in there, but Allen was all over it, wasn't really in danger, and was able to eventually get that finish. So huge win for Brendan Allen. 2 in a row now. Beat Marvin Vettori in his last fight, and then beat RDR, dude. So huge wins. Yeah, sorry for the freaking yard work going on right outside my house. Oh my god,
fine, buddy. You're good. No worries.
I know. And then I heard a freaking airplane fly over. I'm like, what was that?
Freaking like World War II fucking
fighter. I'm like, it's finally time.
Speaking of, it's finally time.
It
was a great weekend. It was a great time. I know I can't say too much for my victory, since of course it was so tied up and whatever. But what does it say? What does it say?
Dude. I think it says
winning time. Yeah. But of course, it's always fun to. Dude, I was scared. I thought I was gonna fucking lose. That was the worst part.
For real, though. Yeah. Rami was like, we had a tie. I'm like, oh, nice. And then I'm checking it. I'm like, this motherfucker. I gave my hopes up and nothing. I'm like, oh, I don't like. I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't seem like a tie.
I totally forgot, because I was losing so much on the picks. I was like, man, we just got a fucking tie. Fuck this shit. Throws my laptop. I mean, like, fucking just goes all over the place. Like, my god. But what a win! What a fight card! I can't wait to have another one of these, because it's really fun. When we get fucked over on these picks, it's fun as hell. But
humble us.
Before we do set everybody off, our next card is this weekend in Abu Dhabi. We will be finally getting the heavyweight championship on the line.
Finally.
The last time that they were in Abu Dhabi was in July of 2025 with Robert Whittaker versus Reinder de Ridder, who we just spoke about, But of course, this fight up, will be insane. Not only the prelims, but of course the main card. Prelims, we're going to get very quickly into it. Hamdi Abdelwahab will be fighting Chris Barnett. Barnett's back after 1 year of inactivity. Hamdi lost to Muhammad Usman the last time we saw him out there. He was doing those leg kicks pretty good, and then started losing second and third round out of the freaking blue. Walter Walker is back. He will not be fighting Muhammad Usman. He'll be fighting Louis Sutherland. So that's going to be very interesting. Nathaniel Ward is back. He'll be fighting Jose Miguel Delgado. Abdul Karim Al-Salawari will fight Mateus Camillo. Ludovic Klein, who fought against Mateus Gamrot months ago, will fight Mateusz Rebecki. Then we have Jun Young Park against Ikram Aliskerov. Then the featured prelim is Quillan Salkili against Nazra Hakpras. It'll be very fun. Main card, Azamat Murskanov versus Alexander Rakic. The light heavyweights will be in full effect. Then the next fight will be heavyweight action, Jailton Almeida against Alexander Volkov. It's going to be very fun because Volkov has been showing so much greatness in him, and he could very well be next in line for the heavyweight title. Umar Nurmagomedov is back. He will be looking to get back into the title picture for the bantamweight division against Mario Batista, who has been showing a lot of great signs in the past couple of months. Then the co-main event will be the women's strawweight vacant championship on the line. Zhang Weili is no longer champion. She vacated it. She wants Valentina's gold. It'll be Verna Janarova against Mackenzie Dern, who Mackenzie Dern said if she had to fight Zhang Weili, she would not feel confident in herself to beat her. Now she fights Verna Janarova. It's going to be very interesting how she handles this fight and the way that she enters it. In the main event, Todd Aspinall is back, finally defending the UFC Heavyweight Undisputed Championship for the first time ever against Cyril Gane, who has fought for the heavyweight title on occasions before. I believe he was the interim champion, he was not.
I believe, he was. Then he lost it.
Jones. He fought John Jones. They didn't work out so well. He got his cock punched. He got beat up badly. It was just not a fun time. But now John Jones is no longer in the division. He's no longer holding it up. All due respect. And now we're going to get Aspinall against Gane. We should be back next week, of course, for next Monday or next Tuesday even. Really depends. I really don't mind because we still get our same great viewership, people who tune in, people who love hearing us, yap about these fights.
Fuck yeah.
But of course, to everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. This has been another edition of Talktagon with myself, Rami, and the boy Max. 32 episodes deep into this one. We're slowly getting down to some great ones. Some great cards, especially in the next 2 months or so.
Yeah.
November's coming up. Turkey Day will be fun, but it'll also be very exciting to see what we get with the MSG card, because that's gonna be very fun. Jack Diddle Madalena against Islam Makhshayev. No one knows how that fight's gonna work out. No one knows, because Bilal Muhammad wanted to do Rocky, and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah.
Now if you can get Islam Makhshayev being like Khabib Nurmagomedov, Jack Diddle Madalena might have some problems on his hands, but there's going to be so much fun happening. November, December, cannot wait for it to happen. Max, where can they find you on your socials?
Follow me at Combat Combos on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. I think Twitter's the better name. Or follow me at Brawl and Draw. That is my art account. Make some cool drawings of, fighters, mostly boxing and MMA. And, it's a fun time.
Very, very fun time. And of course, you can find me on my socials, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Who Else But Rami. I just dropped my first ever piece with Daily DDT, the fan-centered affiliate for professional wrestling. And I wrote my pay-per-view grade and reactions for Wrestle Dream this past weekend for AEW. Great showing from all the guys. Crazy stuff. They couldn't bleed or go fighting into the crowd because in St. Louis they have a bunch of restrictions on professional wrestling. You can't bleed. Imagine like a pay-per-view time. We gotta have one of the top bleeders bleed, and you can't bleed. Like brothers, like no blading. It's crazy work. We're speaking. I don't know if do you know what blading is?
Is that like what? Like they cut each other or what?
In wrestling, whenever you gotta show some blood, sometimes it happens unprovoked, like you just really get busted open, or you slice your forehead, like that with a thin razor blade. You slice it open so you can start bleeding. But here's some tricks. You can either do it like so. They'll have it like taped up in their finger, and they'll have like the blade sticking out, and they'll do that. Like Ric Flair used to do with Triple H, or William Regal, all-time great. He taught Bryan Danielson, which I read in his book when I was like 13, that one of the easiest and safest ways to bleed is to get that razor blade the same way that you had it. You poke it into your forehead, and then you twist it so the blood starts pouring out. So you don't get a scar, and it's just pouring out the blood. It's a crazy freaking, it's crazy stuff, man. So in MMA we get instant blood. In wrestling we gotta get like some forced blood. Like get that out of there. Get that out of there. I gotta show you some of my favorite bloody matches. I gotta show you some of my favorite bloody matches. I'll definitely have to send you a link to that. But of course, thank you to all 430 of you that tuned in for another episode of Talktagon. We'll be back either next Monday or next Tuesday. It really depends on how our schedules work out together. But we will be back next week to discuss the headliner for UFC 321 Tom Aspinall Serial God Heavyweight Championship match of the world. Thank you so much, everybody who tuned in. We will see you next time. Salute. I said salute. Anyways.